Hello there guys, and welcome to another one of my reviews. Today we are driving a BMW 4 Series once again, and I think this will be the last hoorah before the big boy comes out and arrives in my driveway, the BMW M4. So what we are driving here today is the M440i. So usually I would go over the design, the exterior design, the interior design, and what has changed or not compared to older models, facelift models, whatever. The thing is, I'm not going to do that today because this car has a very controversial design. It's so controversial that it has sparked very heated debates online. I know it seems like the vast majority of people are against this new design, but I think that's because the ones that are against this change with this huge grille up front are more vocal online. Not necessarily many more than those who like it, because I know a lot of people like this design. So yeah, it's a matter of taste. I won't actually tell you if I like it or not. You can make up your own mind. What's pretty evident and pretty blatantly clear is that this new design is different. It's different in many ways, and of course it's going to ruffle some feathers. Whatever. When BMW messes with iconic designs, because let's be honest, the kidney grille design up front is iconic. It has been refined over 100 years, nearly 100 years. So it is iconic. So whenever anyone threads on an iconic design, it's bound to have some repercussions. We'll see how this plays out on the long term. I don't think I've seen such heated debates on the design of a car since the E60 generation cars came out, like the 5 Series or the 7 Series, under Chris Bangle's supervision. We'll see how this plays out. What I will tell you is that it attracts a lot of looks wherever you go. And of course, it's an attention magnet wherever you drive this car. And it's not necessarily because of its sound, because it's an M440i and it has a 3-liter straight 6 under the hood, you know, the specialty of the Bavarian brand. It's because of its design. I'm pretty sure about it. I'm not sure if people gawk at it because they like it or hate it. It's hard to ask anyone, you know, when you're driving by, hey, why are you staring at me, you know? Tell me if you like it or hate it. But a lot of people notice it. And if you like the attention a car gets you, this is the car for you. Inside the cabin, the design is pretty conservatory. It's the same you'll find in many new BMWs. It resembles the 3 Series the most. And of course, since this is a 2-door coupe model, it has some key differences, like the longer doors up front, which also come with longer speaker grills, for example, on the door panel. But that's about it. Our tester has cognac Vernasca leather inside. It looks really good. The seats are comfortable. A bit on the harsher side of things, but they do offer great lateral support. These are the M Sport seats, of course. Since this is an M Performance model, it comes with the M Sport seats as standard. You can get the M seats on this car, which look a bit different, but I don't know if I would splurge on those because this car is already pretty expensive. I'm going to get into that later on. So what does the M440i badge on the boot mean? It means you have a 3-liter straight 6 under the hood that's turbocharged, has only one turbo. It's not a twin turbo setup. It develops 374 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. If you're buying the European version, if you're buying this car in the US, that's going to be 382 horsepower, but the same level of torque. All 4 Series models are mild hybrid today, so this one has a mild hybrid setup as well. That means it has a small electric starter generator motor under the hood and a battery for it, which helps out when setting off, helps out when slowing down because it recuperates energy and shuts off the engine when you're approaching a red light, for example. You know, it says a drop here, a drop there, and makes a difference. And it also helps out under heavy acceleration. The electric starter generator motor can develop up to 11 horsepower, and they are delivered depending on the situation. In Europe, this car is available only as an xDrive model, an all-wheel drive model. In the US, you will be able to get it, not right now. You will be able to get it as a rear-wheel drive only model. And the advantage on top of that of the US market is that they don't have the OPF installed on the exhaust, and that means their cars sound better. I'm not saying this car doesn't sound good, but it's not nearly as exciting as the B58 engine used to be without the OPF, auto particulate filter, in case you're wondering what OPF is. Just like you have a DPF on diesel models, diesel particulate filter, you have an OPF on these models. How does this car drive? Well, I had the chance to drive 3-4 series so far. The first one was a 430i with a rear-wheel drive setup on the track, and that car felt really agile and really well put together. Then I had the 420d for testing purposes, and that car impressed me with its efficiency, but it was a bit rattly compared to this one. And it wasn't really sporty at all. This car, though, has the most power. It's the fastest in a straight line by far. It will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.5 seconds, which is pretty good. It's just a tad slower than the claim time for the old M4, which would be hard to get in that M car because you'd have a rear-wheel drive setup alone. So hooking that power, the 430 horsepower or 450 for the competition model, hooking that power and putting it down was tricky. So you would end up under the claim times of the M4. But on this car, that's not an issue because it has all-wheel drive, and that of course helps out when setting off. But this all-wheel drive system, as we all know, it's also very playful and rear biased, as BMW got us used to. So you can get the tail swinging if you want to, and the car feels really neutral when you're driving it. It's a bit heavier than the other two cars though, and I did notice that. It's the heaviest of the range. The lightest I drove so far was the 430i, which had a weight of 1,570 kilos or something like that, or 1,600 kilos. Then was the diesel model. The 430i has a weight of 1,540 kilos. The 420d has a weight of 1,670 kilos, and this one is 1,740 kilos, so 1.7 tons. It's pretty heavy, but it's not the heaviest in this segment. That would go to the Audi S4, S5, I beg your pardon, which is a diesel right now for some reason, and it's heavier than this car, noticeably heavier. And you could also include the Kia Stinger GT in this comparison, which is nearly 2 tons, and that would definitely take the crown in terms of weight. So that weight is really felt when you're actually driving this car hard. It will lean a bit in the corners. It ruins the axle balance. You know, you don't have that 50-50 weight distribution anymore. It's 53 up front, 47 out the back, and it feels nose heavy. You do have a lot of grip on the front axle though, and this car, being an M Performance model, does ride lower than an M Sport model by 1 centimeter, and the M Sport model is already lower than a normal Sport 4 Series. So, you know, as you spend more, your car will drop in height a lot more. So yeah, you do feel the weight when you're in a corner and you're pushing this car. It's not understeering until you push it really hard, up to about 9/10, but you do get a bit of understeer at the very limit. Not really an issue. Few people will actually push this car to the absolute limit. What this car feels to me like is a GT. It feels like a smaller 8 Series in overall. It's very well insulated. It feels comfortable. For some reason, I don't know why, it feels more comfortable than the 420d I drove earlier this year, actually late last year. It feels more comfortable than the M340i, which is the sedan, and it's supposed to be, you know, more comfortable than the coupe version and less sporty, but somehow it doesn't feel that way. This car feels the most comfortable of the entire range I was mentioning before. It's actually pretty weird. So yeah, it's great fun to drive, especially in a straight line. It's blazingly fast. It will accelerate to 250 kilometers an hour, which is its limited top speed, electronically limited top speed, very easily. I think it will take under 30 seconds to do that. It's fast, it's refined, so yeah, I think it feels like a proper GT. So what's the problem with it? Well, the problem is the price tag. It's pretty expensive. Starting prices in Germany are around 65,000 euros, and this car we're testing is 86,000, and it has all the bells and whistles on, including a leather wrapped dashboard, but it's 86,000. And that's a lot of money. For that money, you could probably get an M4. So who's this car for? Actually, it is for people who want great performance, not necessarily a scalpel, but more like a sledgehammer that will simply accelerate in a straight line brilliantly, but are not willing to trade off the comfort they are used to and go for an M4. Because if you want the best, you would get an M4 or an M3. And I think for 86,000, you could get one easily. But this is the car that appeals to those who want great performance, but not a very stiff ride. They want some comfort with their in their car, and this car is definitely going to be overall more comfortable than the M4. I didn't drive the M4 yet, but I am pretty sure that this car will be more comfortable. That said, this has been my review of the BMW M440i. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe. It keeps this channel alive. Until next time, don't forget to feed your passions. Ciao.